let's go in. Let's take a deep dive into the Royal Rumble '99. Now, as far as the particular spot, Vince had an early spot at the time. I think he took the what draw did he take? Second? I think it was second draw.
I think.
Yeah. So it was Austin and Vince was 1 and 2, and then they were brawling throughout the whole match. I remember. And Vince, like throughout, they were like out of the ring, far out of the ring, and they came back. And then Vince did the whole swerve and threw him out at the end. And so, kind of let us know what was the game plan with that. Now, it made sense. It made total sense because Vince was in there for almost an hour. Vince and Austin. And so, what was the kind of game plan behind Vince and Austin being 1 or 2? Because it seemed like it was pretty clear that the Rumble was going to be revolved around the other camera shots of them kind of going away from the ring and then coming back eventually. So how did that all come about?
Well, bro, Chris, this is why I love talking to you, because I know you understand. Mm-hmm. Okay. Bro, here's the beauty of wrestling and thinking out of the box. And when I tell you this, people will clearly see this is why it's so stale today. Mm-hmm. Bro, when you do situations like Vince McMahon wins the Royal Rumble, David Arquette becomes WCW champion, Vince Russo gets speared out of the cage and all of a sudden he's the champion. Mm-hmm. When you do things like that, bro, that are so out of the realm of predictable and what we repeat 100 times, what that does for a writer, bro, is it opens up the creative envelope. Mm-hmm. Now, bro, you can go down so many roads you couldn't go down before. And people, Chris, they don't understand this because they don't write television every week. Yeah. When you're writing television every week, Chris, you need to create these scenarios to keep it going. Sure. So that's why when you have the idea of, okay, Vince is going to win the Royal Rumble, then part of that becomes the positioning. I think the cliffhanger the week before had something to do with the 1 and 2. And now it opens it up. And bro, the reason why I point that out is because everybody's, putting SmackDown over SmackDown, Uso, Reigns, this is great, this is great, this is great. Well, bro, to me, part of that is how low we've lowered the bar.
That's very
because,
true.
Bro, I swear to you, for the last 6 weeks, I feel like I see Kevin Owens beats up Jey Uso. So the next week, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso need to beat up Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens comes back the next week. I'm going to beat you up, Jey. They're repeating it over and over and over again. That's what we did not want to do. Yeah. We wanted it to be new. We wanted it to be fresh. And in order to do that, you've got to have situations like this. Like, a guy sitting at home, no way Vince is winning this. Like,
yeah, that was me.
Yes. That's done for a reason.
Yeah.
And, bro, our rule of thumb always was, when I was writing alone and then when I was writing with, bro, we had seen so much wrestling in our lives, like you, Chris. And, bro, we would be booking an angle. And if it was something we had already seen, we'd say, no, bro, they did it. We've seen that. We can come up with a version of it, but it's got to be different. We never wanted to repeat what the wrestling fans saw over and over and over again.
Bro. Yeah. And like y'all got it. Y'all definitely caused a lot of intrigue, because I remember watching that as a fan, and I was just throughout the whole. Like, the thing is, what was so interesting about that to me as a fan, I was like, no way, because Vince was just so away from the ring, and it was its own entity, inside the match, and it's like throughout and it protected Vince too, you know, because he's not going to, for an hour, he's not going to compete in the ring and, you know, do spots and do the whole corner spot where you're kind of waiting tired, waiting for the, you know, waiting for the count and all that. He's not going to do all the, you know, the traditional Royal Rumble. You're kind of laying down the mat or waiting in the corner type thing. You know, he's Vince McMahon, so he's not a part of that, you know.
Bro, anything works in wrestling if it's feasible.
Yeah.
See, people tend to, like, I know this is kind of off topic, but I want to use this as an example. Bro, David Arquette winning the world title.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, bro, he won it in a tag match, beating Eric Bischoff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's feasible. He never beat a wrestler.
It's true.
Okay, so he kind of got caught up in the moment. Next, and if you watch it back, he gets caught up in the moment. He gets Bischoff, and when it's 1, 2, 3, and it sinks in, like, bro, the very next episode, he says that, he goes, bro, like, no, like, I don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
I have no business. I mean, bro, we told it where it was all feasible. Of course, 20 years later, oh, Russo put the belt on David Arquette. Bro, the story was totally feasible. It could have happened. Bro, Vince McMahon's not going to go through 30 guys.
Yeah.
But the way it was booked, and Pat, of course, had everything to do with that, it's feasible that the guy would have won.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. So, quickly, if we can go off the script, what would have been an alternative finish to Royal Rumble 99? Was there any other discussions leading up to the Royal Rumble of a possible winner?
There really wasn't, bro. I mean, we that was such a big moment. We knew, like, we probably knew that, bro. I would say at the Survivor Series, 100% we knew Vince was going over at the Royal Rumble. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And again, it made sense during the storyline. Now, what was the idea, like, post WrestleMania, to get Vince out of the stipulation for WrestleMania?
Yeah, what did WrestleMania wind up being again?
99 was Rock and Austin, I believe it was.
Yeah.
2000, yeah, 99 was Rock and Austin.
What it really comes down to is, when you're talking about WrestleMania, a certain match is expected. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, bro, two things. We got two things here. Number one, Vince is not going to deliver that match. And WrestleMania is really, that's the wrestling showcase. That's for the boys. You know, you want your best matches on that card. So it did a couple of things. We know Vince is not going to be in the main event because they're not going to deliver that match. But it also gave us great program and great storytelling leading up from January to WrestleMania of exactly how we were going to get Vince out of that match and what the story was going to be. So, you know, again, Chris, like I said, unless you're writing every week, you don't know how important it is to come up with stuff like that to keep the writing fresh and alive. Yeah. And that's why nobody knows where it's going, because they haven't seen it a million times before.